Now, when you were working with Paul Rusesabagina, apart from the satellite phones that you plan to buy, was there anything else that you did with him, recruitment-wise, weapon acquisition-wise? Thank you, Mr. President. When we began the context and the activities, we began with the recruitment. That is the only activity that I was involved in. We were really preparing. We were making contacts, exploring possibilities. We hadn't really advanced further than that. Thank you. During that period, the project that you had launched, in total, how much money did Rusesabagina send you in connection with that project? Well, the total, I haven't made it, but I can detail the amounts. But I haven't done the total. First, what he sent for my treatment, well, I don't include it, but I can cite the amount, because of course that also has its significance. So $1,000 for treatment, 175 of dollars, 400 euros. Then 3,000 from when I was in Dar es Salaam, or rather that came from Dar es Salaam. Then 1,780,000 when I was in Bujumbura. At any rate, that's the amount that got to me. Thank you. You said the money was usually sent through Minani. Is that so? No, there were other people. Mngari was one, Apollinaire. But of course, most of the money, the largest amount was through Minani, and or using his name. But how did you know it was Rusesabagina who sent those amounts? No, he will call me. He will call me and say, go and find somebody through Mngari, for example. The details, the bank details or Western Union details, they were given through to me, and then he would say, go with the details and go to so and so. So it was clear that Rusesabagina had done the sending. Thank you. Now, at the beginning of your testimony, you said that you used to talk to Rusesabagina, and he would inform you of his plans, and you will also inform him of yours. Now, can you give us in details how you came to the conclusion that your plans and his plans could work together? Thank you. Thank you, Mr. President. Your Honorable Court, Honorable Judges, the reason why I concluded that our projects could match is as follows. What I was doing in FDLR is clear. I was planning with others to attack Rwanda. Now, there were politicians, including Rusesabagina, and all of them could follow what was going on. It was on the media. We were all saying that the country had to, changes had to happen in the country. And changes could come through politics, political means, then, campaigning, and then election, and so on. But when I talked to him, He said, well, all ways are possible. Whichever would work, he was ready to support whichever path would work. And he said that if we could find people who could work with his party, that also would be fine with him. And that, as I explained earlier, he said, well, if it's just the political side, that will be good. We have to recruit more people, but it doesn't work. Then we use force or military force. Thank you. Thank you. Now, if I heard properly, you said that at the time that you were discussing how to work together, you said, before you moved to an area where you had no connection. But at the earlier time, you said there were conflicts. There were conflicts at the time. Where what we talked about is this. He said there had been contacts. He just said we have had contacts. And I thought it was a kind of coalition. In fact, there was a thinking that it would be better for the armed groups, or rather for the political groups, to join together and form a coalition. But they couldn't get on properly because their plans were not matching properly. Actually, I have no details on that. All I know is that the political wings or the political parties wanted to work with FDLR. I didn't work out, but I don't have the details. Thank you. Now, the money, to come back to the money, did you use up all that money with your expenses, in your expenses? Or just your, because you said that you wanted expenses. You were working with him, but you hadn't come to an agreement, a formal agreement. Well, when I say frais de fonctionnement or expenses, it means many things. For example, you have contacts, communication, or people have to survive on the field, in the bush, and all these expenses for the groups. I was in charge of that. I was the one in charge of the group, the armed group, so I had to help them. I sent money to Canon Turende, 350 to go to Nairobi, where he needed to go. So it's sort of general expenses. Thank you. Now, you mentioned a number of people, Project Narumba, Polineri, Nsenjumba, Minani, and all these people. What was the role of each of these people in relation to your work with Rusesabagina? Malumba, that is 2006. He's the one who gave me Rusesabagina's number. I was not involved in anything else, really. I mean, so far as I'm concerned, he just gave me the address. Senjumba, same thing. Senjumba was just my neighbor, and he would help as a neighbor. And Rusesabagina had lived with him in Lusaka, and I was also in the neighborhood, so we got to know him. I don't think he was involved in anything else other than a channel for that money. Actually, the one who was involved very deeply was Minani, who was in Belgium. Then Paul Rusesabagina, we used to talk together, the three of us. Of course, at that time it was just secret. We kept it between our three. So I think this is the one that I can say that was involved in the confidential aspect of our work. Yes, but he used to transfer money. He was a conduit for money. Did you talk about anything else with Minani? Yes, I met him once, the first time. Then he came back to Lusaka to see me. on those issues. He wanted us to discuss all those matters face to face. So he was involved. He was informed. These $500 that he said somebody gave you $500. Well, the $500 came at the time that I spoke to Rusesabagina at first. The first time. I used to live with a young fellow called Mundere. And Rusesabagina said he was, the young person was his relative. And then when I went to Lusaka and I raised the issue again, I said, oh, you know, there is this young man. He said he's your cousin. Is that so? And he said, yes, I know him. Oh, I know him. And he said, how can I get in touch with that young man? I said, no, give me the money and I will send it to him, because he was in the Rusizi Valley. We lived together. And he said, please get him out of the bush. Thank you. So you got him out of the bush, the 500 money, he took it and went away. Well, I didn't follow, but he wasn't where I was, and he never contacted me, and I think he just went to Bujumbura. So I don't know. Now there is something else that wasn't clear. Your trip with Nditurende and Rusesabagina, where we were supposed to meet in Bujumbura, and then you were arrested. There is something I didn't get. Your second trip, when you were arrested, how did you meet with Nditurende? I didn't quite catch how you got to meet together again. Well, you know, I traveled with Nditurende only once. I left him in Dar es Salaam. I went to Kigoma for the papers that I spoke about. And when I got them, I contacted him and he joined me in Kigoma. From Kigoma, we came to the border with Burundi. In Makamba, the Makamba border point, we got a transport vehicle, and then we went to Bujumbura. So that was the only trip that I had with him. Yes, he's the president. So now, with the Paul Rusesabagina, he contacted you. We got in touch with him in Congo, the first contact. Then you went to Lusaka, and that was in 2007. At the end of 2007, yes, that's when I started working with him. Now, can you explain clearly so that we have a clear idea? How many times did you speak? For how long did you write to each other? For how many months? Or years? So was it from your arrival in Lusaka until you were arrested, or what? Well, I arrived in November 2007, but I began to speak with him at the beginning of 2008. At the end of 2008? Yes. At the end of 2008. So that's when I began speaking to him up to 2009 in Burundi. When we were arrested, I was in contact with him all the time. Now, another question. With this money issue, you got the money, but did you recruit? Did you buy military equipment or weapons? Or were you just in the initial stages of the work? Well, from the time that I was arrested, from the time I got there and then up to the time I was arrested, we did recruitment. We had many contacts with different people. Usually it was in contact with people who have armed units. I would contact heads of arms units We hadn't bought the weapons yet. We were about to buy communication equipment. So how many heads of units and in total how many elements were concerned with your contacts? Well, I had 2 commanders that I had already spoken to, including Colonel Nditurende. Then there were other medium range officers, but who also had units that they led, or lower rank, lower than colonel. Well, so now, says the president, the people you were working with, who were they exactly? Were they FDLR? No, I didn't get the question, says the witness. The president repeats. You say that Nditurende had problems with the leadership of FDLR. Is that so? Yes. I think he had rebelled and he wanted to start his own plans. All right, says the president. Now, the people you were talking to, were they the break-off branch of FDLR or another, or other groups? Yes, Mr. President, as I was saying, there were two groups. There was Nditurende who had broken off and had started a bush, unit on his own. Then there were other units that existed, and we were in touch with them, but secretly, so that it's not known. Another question: the trip that you made to Burundi, were you sent by Rusensabagina? Yes, it was his. We were on his mission. Colonel Nditurende, he had a mission, his own mission, because he had broken off with the main group. He wanted to meet General Adolf on his own to strengthen his new position as a break-off group. But when I talked to him and I spoke about him to Rusesabagina authorized us to use that money, and he even told us where to go to Burundi, where to go through. So Nditurende, he was on whose mission? No, he was not on Rusesabagina's mission originally. Nditurende is in the Ingabire Victoire dossier. How did he, come to the Rusesabagina dossier? Well, he went to Burundi working with Victoire Ingabire. They were working together, but I didn't know at the time. I learned about it later. So he was on the side of Victoire Ingabire, and but he also Rusesabagina, because he said, well, if whichever works out better, I will join that side. That was his position, because there were two sides. That, in fact, that's how the two sides met, although you could think that they had no relation. Fine. Now, another question. You said they had 2 satellite phones. Did you buy them, or did you? No, I was going to buy them. I got the money from the bank and from Western Union, and I was going to buy them, but I was arrested at the time. Thank you, said the president. Now, among the accused here, were any of them with you in all these activities in FDLR and so on? FDLR or Rusesabagina's affair? Well, except if you give me permission to look, because I don't know who is here. It's not easy to see the faces, says the president. Just standing there, I don't know, because some of them you may not know them. Yeah, I think the names, yes, maybe, but there is one. I think there is one that I've just recognized, but the others you just give one example is enough. I see Colonel Mark. This one, the second on the second chair, the second row of chairs.
Thank
you. That is enough. If you know one is enough. Yes, I know Mark. Yes. Did you work with him, says the president? You with him and Rusesabagina? That is the thing. The question. No, not at the time of Rusesabagina. Thank you. I think there are other questions that want to be raised. If you want to ask a question, please stand and come forward. Use a microphone and then ask your question. Please respect the distance. Respect the distance, please. Don't stand close together. Yeah, just stand apart, and then you can use the microphone in turns. All right, so first question. State your question, please, so that the witness can answer. Thank you very much. My name is Mukashema Marie-Louise. I represent those who are suing for compensation. Now, the witness has given us his background. He told us that he's a professional soldier. And when he started Your Honor, he started his testimony, he explained that he spoke to Rusesabagina, and yes, I'm sorry, can you go to the point, please, madam? Yes, thank you, Your Honor. He said that they had planned a number of strategies, including the use of force for political ends. My question is, this military intervention, how was it going to work out exactly? Thank you. Yes, thank you, Your Honor. The question is, in fact, I think what she wants to know, the lawyer wants to know, is how this military activity was going to be carried out. Well, you know, I went to Burundi to find a path for our army. Yeah, well, you can just ask. You can ask, but you don't. Whether she knows the military tactics or not, that is not the point. Just be straight, please. Thank you, Your Honor. Well, the strategy. Well, I think I've lost the question. Yes, can you reformulate the question? Thank you, Your Honor. My question was that they had two strategies, political and military. The military solution, what was it going to, how was it going to work out? It's for us who are ignorant of military issues. Can he explain where they were going to use force? Where? Against whom? Thank you. I understand, yes. Well, military force is a force about weapons. You know, we're going to use weapons. You know, we're going to military attacks with firearms. We would attack Rwanda through a path that had been prepared, where we were going to succeed without difficulty, succeed to get into Rwanda, on Rwanda territory. Thank you. Thank you. My name is Metradis. I have a question. Mr. Noel Habiyaremye, as a military expert, as you said you are, the strategy that you just alluded to, is it related to the actual attack that took place in 2018, Nyabimata, Nyungwe? Was it part of that strategy? Yes, look at me, don't face the bench. Thank you. You wanted to invade Rwanda to put pressure on the government. So, come to the point, says the president. Now, can you explain, please? Nyungwe and Nyabimata attack, were they part and parcel of your strategy? This is how you had planned. Yes, all right. I think he got the point. Thank you, Mr. President. I arrived in Rwanda in 2009. I was judged, imprisoned, and then liberated. I have no information on that, no specific information on what happened to Nyabimata. I don't know how it was planned. My strategy did not include Nyabimata sort of attack, no. My plans were different, and Nyabimata was not my plan. Thank you. Any other question? Any other lawyers? No? Thank you. There is the lawyer. You have the floor, and then I think there is one of the detainees who want to speak. Thank you. Thank you. My name is Mugabo Sharif Yusuf. I'm the lawyer for Kwitonda Andre. Mr. President, yesterday we followed the introduction of the context witness. Now, today, on behalf of the people I represent, I think in 1994, as we heard through witnesses, we know that the FDLR recruited the local inhabitants, and that even children were recruited into the armed groups. Today, the witness was asked about recruitment and also funding for the activities. Now, the witness says that he was in charge of groups on the ground. Can he answer this question with your permission, Mr. President? He explained about the telephone and contacts. He said he left the country in 1994 as a refugee. And then he said the telephone was used in 2006. And he said that there was no network where he was, and he had to go to another special place to get a network, telephone network or connection. Now, it seems, according to what he's saying, that he was a senior leader in these armed groups. As a senior leader, therefore, Mr. President, where there is no network, he was in a place where there was network, but at the same time he was recruiting the people, the local people. How did he get to recruit or to carry out his recruitment activities? Well, what is your question, sir? Says the President. Oh, thank you, sir. My question is, what resources or means or systems was he using for recruitment? Because according to his testimony, it seems that the senior leader senior leaders in his groups had communication problems, had no network, no connections. So how did you maintain your recruitees, for example, if you had no communication system? Yes, no, we understand the question. The question is you want to know how people were recruited, and once you recruited them, how did you contact them, or how did you make sure they remain in where you have recruited them for? Thank you, Mr. President. I think the question is where you have no network, how do you recruit? When I said that I was in charge with the key people, the senior people, because I was a senior officer and I only contacted senior officers or senior leaders, let's say. And that's what I did. You know, I would target influential, important people. So that is one thing. Second, the zone that FCLR covered, some of it was connected. It's not all the area that had no connection or no network. That's the second point. Third, I was not in charge of recruiting the people, the local people, the farmers and so on. That was another stage. My stage where I was responsible for is to recruit soldiers, experienced soldiers. Then about communication, of course, when there was, for example, if the officer that I spoke to had gone to fight maybe or some activity that took him off network, he would have to come back to a place where he would get a connection. That's what we did, and this is why it was inconvenient, and this is why I was looking for satellite phones to facilitate communications. Thank you. Thank you, says the President. Any other questions? Yes. Please come forward.
My name is Mark Nizeyimana. Thank you, Your Honor. I have a question about the history. Did he misspeak or not? He said when we left the western part of the country, and when we joined the Alir II to fight in the Congo, but we were spoiled. We were the special forces. He said Alir I and Alir II that they joined and formed the FDLR. I know that both in 2000 and... Well, let him clarify the first question. Thank you, Your Honor. Alir I and, well, Special Forces and Alir, what have you, I'm not going to spend too much time on it. It's irrelevant to my testimony here. It has nothing to do with Rusesabagina and me and our collaboration. So don't waste your time on 2005. It's irrelevant to this case. Well, I didn't know whether you came here to talk about Rusesabagina. Well, you look at me when you speak. We're not. There's no debate here. He answered the question. He's the witness, so we respect his answers. Ask another question if you have one. I have no question, no other question. Go ahead, attorney. Thank you, Your Honor. Honorable judges. I want to ask one question for more clarification. Can the court ask the witness? He said when they were on a mission to Burundi, they were sent by Paul Rusesabagina. They were supposed to meet General Adolphe. He said the general did not give a clear answer on, about how he would provide them with assistance, with equipment, and all assistance that they needed. He did not give them a clear answer. So please ask the witness if after that meeting, if the general ever came back to them again with an answer. Thank you. Go ahead, the witness. Thank you, Your Honor. I've explained that already. The last time we met the general, we were arrested right after that and we were sent to Rwanda. So after our first contact, there was no other contact because we were in prison already here in Rwanda. Thank you. I see more people who want to ask a question. Let's hear from that gentleman.
Murakoze nyakubahwa perezida.
Thank you, Your Honor. What's your name, please? My name's Byukusenge Jean-Claude. Would you please ask the witness? He once said that he solely spoke with Minani. He did not communicate with low-ranking soldiers. He was an officer, a senior officer. So what were the consequences if other people spoke and they were found out? Would you like to answer the question? Thank you, Your Honor. I think it's difficult to answer that question. What kind of consequences is he talking about? What is the military consequences? What is that? Like I've explained, that had to be top secret. If you were to speak with somebody and you're confused, Minani is not a soldier, he's a civilian living in Belgium. He's not a military guy. So what does Minani have to do with ordinary soldiers? That's confused. I can't answer that. Thank you. Attorney, do you have any question? No. I heard there was another attorney who wanted to ask a question. Please step forward. Thank you, Your Honor. This is Maître James. This witness knows a lot, obviously, which is relevant to this case. Your Honor, you said he should take a look and to see if he can recognize anybody. He only recognized one individual. Please ask him. Since he's a senior official and he was a commander, can he tell us the names that he remembers so we can understand a few things a little more clearly? Because he was a member of FDLR and Alir, and that's an organization with members. What's your question exactly? What names are you talking about? All members of FDLR? Or maybe those he knows, he remembers when he was a commander, because he had collaborators. He was a commander. Please rephrase your question. It's too general. Well, he was a member of Alir and FDLR. Now, among those present here, he doesn't know everybody here. I understand, Your Honor, but does he remember a few names? So we know some of them are present here, probably. Would the witness like to answer that? Your Honor, such questions really, what can I say? I know names, of course. Does he want to ask me about the names here in court, FDLR members? What kind of names is he talking about? The question has been too broad, Mr. Attorney, the attorney. So what's your question? Please be clear. Please be specific, and that would be helpful on all sides, for all sides. If he doesn't remember any names, then I will leave it to that. At that, I wanted to know if he remembers any names of his those who collaborated with him. Thank you. Well, there's no other question apparently. Thank you very much. The court thanks you. Please take a seat. You will not leave before you sign a few documents. Thank you, Your Honor.